All right, y'all. I know the new MPC Live 3 is out, but I want to talk about how to use automation and MIDI learning in order to get some more mileage out of our old MPCs. So let's do it. Yo, what's good? So the MPC Live 3 just dropped, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen the price on it, man. And you're probably asking yourself, should I drop that cheese and get it? You know, I mean, I don't know, man. You know, it's like I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead for the time being and keep rocking, you know, with my trusty MPC Live Mark 1 that I bought back in 2016. Because to be honest with you, I think it still has some tricks left up its sleeve. All right. So let's check it out. I'm going to go ahead and show you something that, you know, if you have not messed with it yet, this is for, you know, and I'm speaking for you guys that, you know, that you're either kind of new to this, you know, and you just picked up a used MPC Live 2 or something like that. Or you could be, you know, old head that's had it for a minute, but you just never really thought to dig into automation. Now, I'm gonna tell you, this automation thing is something that, you know, I think that not enough people are actually taking advantage of. You know, I mean, they're probably like me when I first got my MPC. All I just wanted to do was just bang on those pads. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and dig into automation. You know, how to go ahead and get it implemented. How to go ahead and map out, you know, some of your controllers. Like I'm using the MPK Mini for this demonstration, and let's get into it. All right. So as you can see, I got my MPC Live. You know, she's a little beat up. You know what I'm saying? And I've been getting some comments and everything like, what the hell happened and all that. But you know, I'm gonna tell you, man. You know, she rocks steady for me, man. And you know, I'm still active duty Navy, you know, coming up on 20 years. And this MPC has been through 2 deployments and, you know, a lot of camping trips, you know, just a lot. It's been through a lot, you know, so internally she's rock solid. But, you know, I mean, the outside is scuffed up a little bit. And that's mostly my fault because they had this little thin rubbery film that just, you know, it just kind of scratches off, and it's like, man, I got tired of seeing it. And it was just, you know, so I tried to, you know, peel it off, scrape it off, whatnot. But eventually I'm thinking, you know, I might just go ahead and get it wrapped. But anyway, let me go ahead and get into this. So automation, what is it? So basically, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use a plugin that's inside of the MPC Live. Okay. And we're going to map out some of the controllers, the knobs. Actually, for this demonstration, we're going to just go ahead and map out these knobs right here, you know, to different functions inside of the plugin. Actually, this is looking a little washed out. Let me fix that a little bit. There we go. Okay. So we got some knobs here, functions here. We've got filters, envelope time, motion, you know, and whatnot. We got some things here that we can mess with, you know, and assign those knobs to, and then we can actually record those, you know, those performances using automation. Okay. And save it into our track. So let's first things first, right? Let's say you got an MPK Mini, something similar, anything that's got like knobs, sliders, whatnot, buttons, you know, if it spits out, you know, MIDI information, especially MIDI CC, then you're good. All right. So what we're going to do on the MPC, lighten this back up. We're going to go over here into menu. All right. We're going to go into preferences. Now, right here where it says MPK Mini, we need to make sure that that global control is on. Okay. So make sure global control is set for the MIDI controller that you want to use, because otherwise it is not going to work. Okay. I banged my head for a while, figuring that out until I decided to look in the manual, and there was clear as day, you know, make sure that joint's enabled. All right, cool. So next thing we're going to do is go ahead and click on MIDI Learn. Okay. And You know what? I got some remnants of some stuff left over in here. I'm just hitting this little delete button, clearing that out. Okay. This button is clear. This is delete. That's your MIDI learn button. There's a little plus button here, right? So we're going to go ahead and hit that plus button, select our source. Our source is going to be on a track. Okay. And that track is actually plugin 001. That's where we got sway. All right. So that's going to be our source. And then the target, which is the function. Let's see, the first one, you want to go to track, right? It's residing on a track. Okay. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to hit that XY blend. Okay. So XY blend, and then the type is currently set to note, but we want to set that to CC, ABS CC, right? Absolute CC. Then once we have that set, we can go ahead and hit learn and then pick a knob. I'm going to pick this one over here. Ah, there it is. It showed up. It's showing up on channel 1 and it's number 70. Okay. So it's CC MIDI CC 70. Then we turn off that learn, and now we're going to go into the instrument itself. And let's see, it's washed out again. Okay. I'm going to go into the instrument and let's turn that knob. And oh, look at that right there. Okay. It's working. Okay. Okay. Now, let's just say it's like, you know what? I don't want it assigned to that one, right? So that's when we'll go back into MIDI. You don't have to do a new learn, right? We just pick a different target because we're going to use that same one. So that was XY blend, right? Let's say we want to do XY motion instead. Go back in here. What's XY motion doing? Ah, there it is right there. I don't know if you guys see that right there. He's moving. As I turn, see he's moving. Okay. So now we got that motion set up in there, right? All right, cool. Let's go ahead and set up another one. Let's say we want to set something else up in here, right? We're going to go into MIDI learn, and we want to add another source. Okay. So this first one is still in here, and it got real dark on us. Okay, cool. That first one is still in here, right? Once again, we're going to the track and we're going to pick that plugin 1. Go ahead and select that. Going to pick a new target. It's sitting on the track, right? And this time we're going to select, what are we going to go with? See, that was motion. That's portamento tune. I want to try filter. There it is. Let's try filter. Okay. Now, remember we got to go ahead and select note. I'm sorry, ABS-CC. Once we select ABS-CC right there, we can go ahead and hit learn, turn another knob. There we go. That's number 71. So we got 71. Go ahead and turn off the learn. And let's go to the instrument and see what we got. All right. Okay. Make sure we can see that. All right. So what do we got? Is it moving? Ah, there it is on the top right there. Filter. See him moving there? And I'm going to turn this next one and he's moving right there. All right. What's that sound like? Let me go ahead and turn down the motion a little bit. And let's play with the filter. Now, like remember before I was talking about there was the filter. There's also a setting in here for envelope time, motion. You're going to want to keep that in mind. Meta, you know, if you don't know what meta does, you're going to kind of want to play with it and see what it does. There it is right there. Okay. So that's meta right there. Okay. You know, obviously you got things like in your XY. Okay. So, but I think what happens is like this XY is actually a combination of all of this, right? Okay. So, so that's something to kind of keep in mind, is that that's all a combination. Now, remember, you also got a lot of other settings in here, like pitch, tune, poly, legato, portamento, vibrato, you know, and you also got things in here that are also based on layers. So layer A, you know, you got your cutoff and resonances and stuff like that, right? So as we go back into MIDI Learn, you know, you can come back in here and then have a good idea of what matches up with what, you know what I mean? You know, obviously these are global settings right here. Your X and Y. So you would have a knob assigned for your X and another one for the Y. And to be honest with you, these right here, these 5, the XY blend, filter, and whatnot. Actually, oh, you know what? Okay, so that's interesting. I am going to definitely have to play with these particular ones, the XY blend. But if you only select one of these, all you're going to do is just, like, say, for instance, if we do XY motion, that's just going to control the XY motion, right? So, but as far as the blending, that's something that needs to be played with and explored. Now, anytime you see something that's like a A after it, and this is specific to Sway, by the way, okay? You know, each plugin is going to have its own set of parameters that can be controlled and assigned to. All right, so like level A, that's for layer A, and tune A, that's all of this is pertaining to layer A. And as you go further down, you'll start seeing the B's, like level B, that's a layer B, pan B, hey, layer B panning, octave B, tune B, and so forth, you know? So like I said, there's a ton of things that you can do that you can, you know, kind of like just create your own, you know, expression and just make it unique to yourself, you know, just based off of whatever kind of controller you got, depending on how many knobs and sliders and all that and buttons that you have. You know, you can create your own experience. Okay. So that's cool, Mr. Fai, but what do we do when we want to get that programmed in? Because, you know, obviously if I just hit record and hit play, you know, it's not going to record it in. There's something we got to do. We got to turn on automation. Now, in order to turn on automation, you got this little square right here. You see that little white square? Okay. Right now it's going to say R for like read. Okay. But if you press it and it turns red, that's red for write. Okay. Now, this is what we're going to do. That means it's going to write any automation as we're playing it. Cool. So let's go ahead and start with the first pass here. And go ahead and mess with this here. All right, that's the first pass. We're going to go ahead and hit that button so that way it's doing a read. Okay. And then let's go over to the instrument and see what we got. Okay, we should be paying attention right now to motion, which is right here. Okay. There it is. It's moving. See it? All right, cool. It's doing it on its own, right? All right, that's dope. So let's go ahead and go back in. So that's cool. We got that one, right? But what about adding another? What if we want to add something else to it? Well, all we got to do is press that, change that read to a write. Okay. And it's not going to overwrite. It's just going to add to what we got in there. So, and what we want to add is that filter. Remember the filter? That guy right there. All right. So let's go ahead and add that guy to it. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to just go ahead and hit play, start. Okay. So I kind of overwrote a couple of things here. Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and hit that. Actually, let's hit undo. Okay. Actually, it kept it. Okay, but that first. So I want that first part to start out just like that, right? So I'm gonna go here and change my loop point. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just looping one bar now, right? Okay. Turn that red one on. All right, cool. Hit play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. So I just stopped it. Go ahead and set my loop point back to right there. Turn it back to green again for read. Let's see what it sounds like. There we go. Yeah, that's what's up right there. Okay, cool. All right, so let's say that we got the automation that's in there now, right? Okay, we already went on ahead and put our automation mode back into read mode. Now we want to actually see it where we can actually just kind of manipulate it a little bit. So what you're going to want to do is click on your arrangement and then just double tap and then click on list. Okay, so under the view, you're going to want to go ahead and select your track automation. Actually, hold on. Yeah, track automation. And when you're in track automation, you know, that's where you'll see all of your automation that's being placed in here. Right now, the only automation that we've actually recorded or wrote is those two, those two knobs, right? So that's going to be the XY filter and the XY motion. If there was other automation in there, then you would definitely see it. Okay. So just to recap on that, you know, if you're in your track, your plugin track, you're going to go to arrangement, you're going to double tap, and then you're going to click on list view. And then you're going to set your views into for track automation, right? We're not going to worry about MIDI automation or anything like that. But for this purpose, you know, for the purpose of this demonstration, it's going to be track automation. And that's what we're looking at. And then you can go in here, you could actually insert new events, or you can modify events that are already in here. So when you see track automation, obviously you're going to see the time, you know what I'm saying? So let's see right here. So right now we're in, this is your time right here. Okay. That's in measure 1, beat 1, right? Okay, you got your XY motion and XY filter, and you could just go through here and you can just dial in, some values. So let's say, for instance, on this motion, right? It started out, looks like it started out at 0. So let's see, what does that sound like? Okay. So it started out at 0, right? What if we bump it up to 100? Okay, so that's 100 versus, see, that sounds about the same there. So that means we'll go ahead and start that out as 100. Look for the next one because it's pretty close to it. Yeah, so it's got a couple of them that are overlapping, and we could just delete that one right there. Where's another motion? So we got filter, XY filter. Filter was hitting pretty good, and then we got motion in here twice, and they're pretty close to each other, so we can delete one of those, right? So now we got, yep, let's go ahead and delete that one. There we go. Now, there we go, okay. And that's pretty much how you mess with the automation on that. And the cool thing is that, you know, any of your plugins, you can do this on, you know, right now I'm just showing you how to do it with your virtual instruments, you know, so that way you can kind of, you know, add this to your toolkit as you're, you know, making beats or whatnot. All right. So with that being said, man, I mean, I hope that this was helpful for you, you know what I'm saying? And that you're able to get some more value out of the gear that you already have. That's actually my biggest goal. You know, it's like, it's fine to go ahead and go after the latest and greatest and everything. But I'm going to tell you, man, it's like, why jump on the bandwagon and go out and get the latest and greatest when you haven't even fully explored all the possibilities and the potential of what you got, right? So that's just my attitude, right? Not only that, but it's like, man, it's expensive, and you know, this economy, I hate to say it, it doesn't seem like it's doing all that hot right now, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, there's some prices going up on just about everything, you know, including gear, you know. So I'm gonna hold on to my MPC, and even after, when I do finally go ahead and pull the trigger on that MPC Live 3, actually, I want to see what they're going to do for the X as a replacement for the X. Cause you know, if the MPC Live 3 is, you know, is popping like this, that new X should be like where it's at. So that's what I think I want to kind of hold out to, you know, cause then, you know, this will truly be my portable, you know, gig that I just take around with me all the time, like I always have. And then when I get back to the studio, I don't, you know, have to rewire everything. You know, I can just, you know, dump everything down on a thumb drive and just plug it in and keep it moving. And that's it. You know, so other than that, I hope this was helpful. If you like it, make sure you like and subscribe, you know, and holla at your boy. All right.